Welcome everybody. This week we got a 15 Siege of Boralus. Pretty hard key. Here is my talents. Run this in pretty much every key. Here are my stats and my gear. Got Mythic Sackbrood out of the vault this week, pretty nice. So I'm going to try to talk mostly about my thought process in these pulls and what is going to kill you. Because I mean, really, that's all that you really care about as a tank, is just living. This first pull, especially right here during the gather, you're going to get hit by 4 gutters. So you want to use your defensives quite early into the pull. If you don't, you run into the chance of evaporating. So in most first pulls in a dungeon, I've got pre-incarn rolling, and then I also send Barkskin, Rage of the Sleeper, and Lunar Beam. You're invincible doing that, and you're also doing lots of damage if you're Mangle Thrashing every other GCD and spamming Iron Ver. And that's really the only way you're going to die in this first area, is getting caught off guard in that like first 2 or 3 globals in a pull. You really want to make sure you have something up every time you're pulling a mob. Other than that, you want to face the enforcers away from the group for the frontals. You can also tank the the guys that do the pull-in. You can tank them a little closer to the wall so your group can LOS it a little bit easier. But you saw right there, right off the rip, I pressed Barkskin. I think I Lunar Beamed. I did SI a little bit late there, but I even sent SI there just to be extra safe. Got 2 charges, so might as well use them. Our route did get a little cooked because we are supposed to shroud the next pull. However, our rogue fat-fingered, or actually it wasn't a fat finger, it was on purpose. He tried to troll us a little bit. But we're supposed to skip the next pack, but we had to end up pull it because I'm pretty sure everyone probably sent their pot on the first pull regardless, and we don't have shroud. So right now I'm thinking, okay, next pull, I mean, I've like everything. So I'm probably going to pull with Incarn, Rage of Sleeper, Lunar Beam. Not sure if I Barkskin, but this pull will have Gutters and a Shredder, so it is going to hurt. So one thing I like to emphasize is you want a defensive, like right now, like I think a lot of people would run through there, not pop anything. And like, that you should pop something before you are going to take a heavy instance of damage. So because in that first little pull right there was gutters, I got hit by, I think it was 1 or 2 bleeds, and if I didn't have anything up and on 15, I might just die. So that's why I popped Incarn there so early, just to really help me get all established. Once you get established as a bear, you're pretty tanky depending on the pull. So these shredders right here, they do an ability called Stinging Steel, and it does an unholy amount of damage to the tank. 1 is livable, but if you're going to take 2, you really want to make sure you have something up. So right there, I didn't have Barkskin or Rage of the Sleeper or Incarn, so I just sent the SI on the pull here, because again, you just don't want to get. It's really those first couple globals in a pull where you're in danger. And then once you get your Iron for rolling, you're going to be chilling. I'm thinking ahead right here, which I could have sent Barkskin, but all the scary mobs are dead, and I want Barkskin going into the next pull. Pretty sure I'm going to have Incarn as well. Man, watching this back, I must have been hella scared for the next pull. I think I should have Lunar Beam there for damage. You get so much CDR on Lunar Beam, it doesn't feel great to hold it. This next pull, though, I know has a Shredder, so it's kind of scary. Another thing you might see me do is charge into a pack of mobs. If you're going to charge into a pack of mobs and you're very light on defensives, there's a good chance that you might get one-shot by melees, or you might get synced meleeed. So don't be afraid to run into a pack and then kind of micro-kite the mobs until you get some Iron Furs rolling. If I charge into a pack of mobs, it's because I'm very confident that I'll live it. Like right there, I had Incarn, Bark, like there's no way I'm dying there. First boss coming up, really not a lot of tank damage, so you'll see me send bark skin, like I'm not even bark skinning here for the CDR, I'm just bark skinning because of the brambles damage. But as a tank, what I'm thinking of on this fight is definitely picking up the cleavers and the gunner guys, because they're going to spawn throughout the fight. But also, if you see next to the cleavers nameplates, there's a timer, and that's the frontal they do. So I'm paying attention to that, and I'm trying to point it away from the group. Mostly the fixate target, so they don't have to, or they don't get like cut off or something from a bomb. But quickly picking up the cleavers with Moonfire. Gonna send Incarn here just for damage. Damage in these hierarchies is pretty important, so holding Incarn for... I mean, obviously if you need Incarn for a pull in the very near future, then you would hold it, but this dungeon, like when I think of a hard tank dungeon, I'm not really thinking of Siege. So just send in things for damage here. One thing you can do to increase your damage a bit is, depending on how long Rage of the Sleeper has left, you can send Rage of the Sleeper plus Lunar Beam together. That's a pretty big DPS combo, But you don't want to be holding Rage of the Sleeper for too long. This next pull coming up is actually kind of scary. I'm sure lots of tanks have died to this pull. It's for good reason. So we got double Shredder, so automatically this pull is scary, but you also have 3 Curse Blades. I don't know, like, the cast timing of the Curse Blades curse that they put on the tank, but I know that it happens pretty quick into the pull, and it not only does it do a significant amount of initial damage, but it also applies a curse to the tank, which increases their damage taken. So if you aren't curse dispelling yourself and you get hit by double Shredder, I mean, you better be praying or have some massive defensives. Looks like I actually dodged one of those Shredders, which is nice. One thing you can do is if you're running really light on defensives and the Shredders, or I guess not even if they're low, you can just in-cap roar the Shredders, or you can Typhoon them away and kite them. I do that quite often, but I had lots of defensives here, so I just face tanked it. We got Barkskin plus Lunar Beam here, so pretty tanky on the pull. A comment I get quite frequently is about threat, and honestly, I'm not really sure, like, what to say, because there's not a ton you can do as a bear to get infinite threat. I'm sure having Tricks of the Trade helps quite a bit, but all you can really do is try to have Lunar Beam or Rage of Sleeper for the pull, but even if you don't, you just make sure Thrash hits everything, and then you mangle, and then you start in your Iron Fur with Thorns of Iron will do a little bit of damage, and then that's really all you can do. And just get ready to taunt if a DPS rips. A lot like Enhancement Shaman right now, you know, it's meta, you're going to play with it a lot. They can do some unholy bursts at the start of a pull. So if they don't give you 1 or 2 globals to establish threat, then that's on them. Like, don't feel too bad if a DPS dies to threat in that regard. So here, again, pretty like suspiciously scary pull because of Curse Blades, but as long as you have defenses rolling, it's pretty chill. God, this spotter is so annoying. Is that 6 Curse Blades right now? My heart right now, like in the past, was probably pounding. I'm just praying I don't get like 6 stacks immediately. I'm surprised at how little stacks I got there. I'm dying for no reason. One thing you might see me do is I do swipe on the pole sometimes, and that's simply just for a little bit of extra initial threat if I feel like I'm a little light. Another comment I get is Moonfire versus Swipe. And honestly, like the easy answer is just to press Moonfire because you get CDR and Lunar Beam, and more Lunar Beams is more tanky. It's that simple. And also, the more times you press Moonfire, the more it spreads for Elun's favorite healing. But like on a deeper level, the reason why I Moonfire is because in these higher keys, like you really want to make sure that you have something up for every high instance of damage that you take. And Lunar Beam, like it's so good at filling that gap. It's not ridiculously powerful. Like at this key level, if I press Lunar Beam on first boss of Dawnbreaker, I'm dead. But it's such like a nice segue into like a bigger defensive, and you can have like up to 50% uptime in a pull with it. It feels so good. If you're like super min-maxy and you want to maximize your damage, it is more damage to swipe. I don't know like at what target count or what, but the easy answer is just fill with Moonfire and only swipe if you need a little bit of extra aggro on the pull. That being said though, swipe does hit pretty, or it hits like a wet noodle, so it might not do a ton. Similar to the first boss, this one doesn't do a whole lot of tank damage, so kind of just sending my buttons for damage. When the ads come out, the 2 little guys do apply a bleed, which can do quite a bit of damage. But even at this key level, I'm pretty sure without a defensive, I live it with no problem. It is important though that you never leave melee as or on this tank, because she will fire a shot at someone and it'll just one-shot them. That's why you'll see most people stack on this fight and they'll move as a unit, so the tank doesn't have to leave melee at any point. And another thing is you want to keep a perma slow on the tank or on the boss, so she doesn't leap around. As Elun's chosen, we have a talent that makes it so our Moonfire slow mobs by 20%, and I'm pretty sure that works, and we can easily sustain that 100% of the time. Try to aim the broadside away from the DPS if possible. Single target rotation is super invigorating. Keep Mangle and Thrash on cooldown and fill with Moonfire. Also, excuse the death mark that you can see on the nameplate. My rogue friend gave this to me. It's nice to know though when he's in cooldowns, I guess. I'm just gonna go ahead and skip through this boss a little bit. Not too eventful. So here, I probably could just run straight to the guys, but like with SI and whatnot, but I kind of soy out. No real need to rush it though. Our timer's looking pretty good right now. This next area, really, I mean, it's not like too bad, but there are some mobs here that'll, like, they're really scary because there's some mobs here that'll apply a disease to you. I think it's a disease that reduces your healing received by 25%. And there's going to be a pack where there's 2 of those mobs. And you'll see, like, it's mad scary. I have to kite, but I do almost end up dying there, which is kind of crazy. Just to melees. That's another thing, is this is a hard season. Definitely one of the hardest seasons that I've played. So don't be afraid to kite at all. Like, kiting is an insanely powerful tool. Like, if you kite quite a bit in a dungeon, that could be literally like tens, hundreds of millions of damage you mitigated just by simply avoiding a melees. And there's some dungeons where you have to kite, like City of Threads or Stone Vault. This one, it's not too bad. Yeah, so the route here, it's scuffed, so I'm like thinking what to pull. You really want to stop the stinky vomits here and the choking waters, I think it's called. We have, you know, in-cap roar, typhoon to stop those if needed. This is the first season where I'm playing with a group of people and they're like actively calling out what to do, so I can kind of turn my brain off and just listen to what they say. Taking quite a bit of damage here. And pulls like this, where the damage intake is pretty consistent and there's not like just one really like high instance of damage, you want to try to rotate through cooldowns as best as you can. Like, instead of like my usual pop everything on the pull, I might just pop Rage Sleeper plus Lunar Beam, and then later I'll Bark Skin, and then maybe Lunar Beams back up. I have everything for this next pull. I don't actually remember what. I'm pretty sure, yeah, we do this giant plus this pack. It's this next pack. I'm not 100% sure what applies the disease. I guess we'll see in a second here. But I think it's the pillagers. Yeah, it's the pillagers that do it. And this is a pull where don't be afraid to kite. I have everything here, so I'm chilling. Actually, now that I think about it, it might be the cutthroats that do it. Like, I'm pretty sure it also does damage to you, so it's like you're taking reduced healing and you're taking a pretty significant amount of damage. I mean, Incarn plus Bark Skin, so a really good timing. But there are pulls where I have to come in here with like just Bark Skin, and I just don't even bother. I just get threat and just kind of kite. We do skip these snipers because they can. I'm pretty sure the way it works is they're a frontal, so if everyone is standing behind them, then they won't get targeted, but someone always randomly gets one shot on that pull, so it's better just to skip it, if possible. Mangle Thrash, Moonfire, Mangle Thrash, Moonfire. I don't know why, but I just find simple, easy specs so much more enjoyable to play. Like Bear, BM Hunter, Arms Warrior. The less buttons you press, the better. Going into this next pull, there is a mob that applies. He does like some cast or whatever. You can't interrupt it, but it makes his auto attacks apply a poison to you, and that poison at 5 stacks, it destroys you. But as a bear, we can just remove corruption it, so it's not that bad. But there is I'm pretty sure it's the second pull we do. Like, there's no way you can dispel them all, and you'll see it gets kind of sketchy at times. I wait till I get to 5 stacks most of the time to dispel it. You can also kite it because it is auto attack based, so you can just Typhoon them in Ursul's and just not get meleeed. Barkskin plus Lunar Beam on the pull here. I usually Thrash first, just so I actually hit them. If any DPS didn't wait, they would just get meleeed instantly. So Thrash and then Lunar Beam. See right here, I have 5 stacks, but I can't dispel myself. It is pretty scary, but just wait till you get a little low and then Frenzied Regen. We have Renewal if you need to, or Health Pot. Still have double SI, so it looks a little scary, but I mean, I'm pretty safe right now. I am at a Frenzied Regen though, so you know, maybe in the moment I was a little nervous. One thing that's a little rough with this comp is we don't have like a real external. I can call for Spirit Link Totem or AMZ, but I feel like those things are better suited for when the group actually needs it. Oh yeah, again, we usually skip this pull, but unfortunately count was a little scuffed, so we had to pull it. There is the shooters here, so just face them away from the group, and I'm pretty sure as the tank you should get hit by everyone as long as your group is behind them. This is probably one of the hardest auto-attacking bosses, maybe. Like, the way that you die to this fight is when Crashing Tide happens into an auto-attack and you don't have a defensive. I'm pretty sure that's the... Or I guess, obviously, if you get hit by a front or a wave, but realistically, that's the only way that you're going to die. And as a bear, we have so many defensives that should never really happen. A little bit of a sus Lunar Beam there. If you didn't know, if you press Lunar Beam, it gives you a buff that it'll display in the top right. You don't actually need to stand in Lunar Beam for the buff. The only thing that the actual like animation or the beam does is that's what does damage to enemies. So if an enemy isn't standing in Lunar Beam, then they won't take damage. But you still get the mastery buff. That's kind of important for some fights, like first boss of City Thread sometimes. I mean, you don't have to use it as early as I do sometimes, but it's nice just to guarantee that I'm going to have the extra health for the tank buster. There will be like a moment in this fight where the frontal overlaps with these tides that are coming out. I think it's the 3rd or the 4th set. I'm not 100% sure, but the way that I play this fight is I just assume that every single frontal the boss does is going to overlap with that tide, just to be extra safe, because that's how you're going to wipe to this boss, is that bad overlap. We don't have the luxury of just bubbling and standing in Africa to bait the frontal. It's randomly getting hit for 60% HP by an auto attack. You gotta love it. Yeah, see, right there. God tier bait by your boy. We got Deathmark coming out from the rogue, huge. feel like I chose one of the worst dungeons to do a commentary over because there's really not a lot to say. It's a pretty straightforward dungeon, just following basic mechanics and just play bear like it was meant to be played. The last boss, there's a little bit more to say. So what I'm thinking about on this last boss is, so okay, actually no, the way that you die on this boss is if you get targeted by the debuff, it actually does quite a significant amount of damage even to the tank, and these terrors auto attack hard. Again, I don't know why everything has to just auto attack for so much, but you can get instant gipped if you don't have a defensive. And another thing I'm thinking about is positioning. Since we have 3 melees, we want to spread out. And also, because we have a DK and a rogue, they can both immune the dots. So you want to try to let them stand in a spot where it's like very easy to see if they're going to get the debuff or not. We do hold Lust for the second platform because we had, I think our mage and rogue had cooldowns here. See right there, I almost died. Scary stuff. I choose to hold Incarn here. Whether or not that's a good idea, I don't think it really would have changed the outcome of the key. I think my thought process was really, once the Demolishing Terror dies, it's not that scary. Like as long as you can live the debuffs, you're chilling. You don't have to worry about the slam overlaps. And if I Incarn here, I'm just getting offensive value, where if I use it with the Demolishing Terror up, I get defensive value as well. Don't get like, I think one thing that's important is don't be so overzealous about running to the next platform instantly. If you get a debuff and somebody's left behind, there's a good chance that they'll just die. But as the tank, you really want to try to be the first one to the Demolishing Terror, because if a melee gets there quick enough, then they'll just get meleeed and probably just get one shot. Well, I think probably the most common comment I get is asking me what macro I use to like press my buttons or whatever, like super fast, and I do not use any macros literally at all, like not a single one, not only just for buttons, but I don't have like a focus macro, I promise. I think after playing bear for almost probably like 2.5 expansions, I just have become very accustomed to my keybinds. Here I am sending a rare maul. This is a rare maul moment. Like, I don't even think I did it on the first platform, but in a moment like this where there is no damage I'm taking from that's melee, or that can be mitigated by armor, like there's no reason to just not maul. It's just more damage. This fight really kills your overall. I mean, look at my damage, Jesus Christ. Sub 400k. We're just not going to pay attention to what happened right there. Recovered, that's all that matters. And I mean, that's pretty much the fight. Like, as long as you can live the overlaps, then it's a dub. I mean, yeah, that's literally the fight. Nothing crazy happens. 3200 IO big. Do I show my damage breakdown? Probably not. But I think that's it for me. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you guys like the commentary. Finally 3200. We're actually 3235 now. I think rank 8 bear NA feels good. Rank 1 on Proudmoore. Hope everyone has a great day, night, wherever you are, and catch you guys later.